I hear like, I see like a lot of athletes. I see a lot of athletes drinking it and I see it at the store. I just hadn't tried it. Just curious if it's.
It's not, it's like everything that supplements, if you don't need it, it's probably not good for you.
Oh, I think my wife was gone. No. Hope they give you time to do your job. Seriously.
Okay, 6 o'clock. All right, it's 6 o'clock. We will start the August meeting of the Kennedale Economic Development Corporation. And the first items is going to be roll call, and absent is Marcel Terry, Daryl Tippy, and Tyson Eubanks. Oh, Marcel, scratch that. Marcel is here. We started 30 seconds too early. A, work session reports, discussion of the budget for the 23-24 fiscal year.
I know we've had several conversations, particularly last month in reference to the budget. Getting your feedback on what we want to, the vision for the next year. There's been a couple of adjustments that we've made. Mainly, I've been able to get some of the numbers narrowed down. Some of the things you'll see is on building maintenance. If you go down to account 5403, it's 57,000. That's mainly dealing with the chamber building, is getting that up to date where it needs to be. Also, there'll be some funding in there for an antique mall. Be some lighting that's required to put in for their new lease. The Town Center Plaza, going through with the council, we moved 12,000 into that account as well, and it's mainly for maintenance. The other, we have the fountain for the Veterans Fountain here in the Town Center. We do have 3 bids that came in. The one that's going to be chosen will be 85,000. There's monuments for city entrances, is at 80,000. So we're looking at putting entry signs for entering into the city on Sublet, and mainly Sublet and Little School Road. For those two, the others will have either a smaller monument just indicating that you're entering into the city of Kennedale. The other equipment is mainly for lawn service equipment for Town Center and different properties for EDC. That's going to be the biggest change that you're going to see compared to what we discussed last month. Any further discussion or anything?
No, you should, go ahead.
85,000 for a fountain, Daryl?
Yes, sir.
What kind of fountain are we getting for 85,000?
Well, as you know, the fountain here in the town center,
Right.
it leaks, some fears. I'm sorry. Oh, did you have something?
I didn't say anything.
Oh,
Right? He said, right?
oh, okay. Sorry. The fountain out there currently does not hold water
Right.
whatsoever. So even when it rains, it's literally, it's coming out the bottom, out of through all the seams. It's not just in one location, it's all of it. So one way or another, we need to do something with it. So I went through getting quotes to see where we would be at, what a general price would be. And it ranged anywhere from 50,000 being the lowest to 110, 120,000 being the most expensive. The one that was at 50,000 was at bare essentials. I mean, it was nothing more than just the fountain itself. So he didn't even fulfill what we were asking of him to do. But the fountain basically is going to be like a pool. So it's going to be built in a sense of like a pool is. So it'll be all one piece. The one that we have now is in pieces. So there's granite or there's some type of cement in between those pillars that's going around it. And that's the problem we're having with it. So the price includes the fountain. There'll still be a centerpiece for the eagle. It'll have a water features that's coming up from the bottle shooting water, for instance. It'll also have lighting that's inside the fountain area. And it also includes the bricks that are surrounding it that will be replaced. Also, where you see the benches will be removed and a somewhat like a horseshoe will take its place where it'll provide more seating for more people to want to enjoy the fountain.
No, will that be cement seating, wood seating?
It will look just like the clock tower. So the brick mortar that's going around the clock tower, it will match that.
Okay. So is this a total remodel or for 85,000? I'm thinking, man, I mean, is he tearing everything up and rebuilding from scratch or?
It is just the fountain and where the benches are. It does not include any of the veterans plaques where they're located. It does not include any remodel to those.
And do you have an itemized list for those bids that you could share with us or anything?
Yeah, I sure can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I send it by email? Is that okay? Or do you want me to bring it to the next meeting? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just blanket everybody.
For anything to understand how much stuff costs right now. I feel like with inflation and everything else, everything costs way more than it did before.
We able to secure enough warranty to make it sound better? You got
Yes,
at least- I know you got at least a year.
we got a year. And that was all three of them.
Okay, that's max.
Yeah. No, just one. That includes the filter system and it includes everything. So the electrical, the pump, the filtration, all of it will be on the fence next to the PD. So you got the PD fence that's separating the park and the PD. That mechanism will be located there. The
Is
pump.
there an estimate on yearly maintenance we'll have to take care of?
It's at minimum. So obviously we'll have to provide chlorine tablets, something like that for
And
keeping it
filters
clean.
and service the filters?
Right, but
We have to pay somebody to do that?
No, the city employees
Okay.
will be doing.
Okay.
But Daryl, my main concern is this, okay, 1 year warranty and we don't have the best water. Our water is like filled with chloramine. And, you know, I've had a problem in my house with chloramine and I had some pipes that needed to be replaced. So with a 1 year warranty, I think we should try to get more than a 1-year warranty out of this thing because our water, over time, it's gonna deteriorate with this chloramine. And what happens when there's another leak? What happens then? That more money out of the budget to fix that or?
Well, just like anything else you build, I mean, it takes maintenance to maintain whatever you're getting. We can ask for additional years of warranty, and I don't think that's going to be an issue to be able to do that.
Okay,
You have to
I'd like
maintain
see
it.
that because, yeah, it takes maintenance, but maintenance can't overcome chloramine.
Well, that's just about any building that gets water. It's going to have some type of chlorine or some type of agents in it that's going to keep the water clean.
Well, I'm more concerned about the chloramine that we have in this city because, man, most of the people in my neighborhood, fixtures in their homes are just being eaten up and everybody's having to replace faucets and stuff because of the chloramine.
My point taken.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to go around it though.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with him. If we can request a longer warranty on the thing, that'd be nice, because I mean, as much as I agree with you about the water, but I'm just thinking structurally, if this thing shifts or cracks or whatever after 1 year, I mean, that's a concern.
Maybe not get it on the pump, but
Yeah.
at least the foundation. You don't know. I guess you always ask.
Well, and hopefully, I know it sounds, but hopefully we get it built right the first time. I mean, obviously, if it's shifting, which we currently have a problem because it's sitting on top, there's no foundation to it. So anytime it's sitting on whatever it's sitting on, it's going to move.
What's out there,
And
red
that's-
clay.
Yeah, that's what's been happening. So if they go down and it's built correctly, which I think that's what you're indicating, you hope is going to happen, that a warranty would cover it. And hopefully with oversight and sight that we'll be able to get it done correctly.
I would echo is my mic turned on? Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think it was Councilman Michaels that brought up, are we sure that it's not going to leak? But I'm sorry, because I think it's close to 1 a.m. at that time and I was kind of spaced out, but I think that these are legitimate concerns and, especially our soil here. Some of the new homes over here have been built a little over a year and then shift and they've got foundation problems and we pay $85,000 and then it starts leaking again. And do we have any recourse at that point?
Honestly, it's hard. I'm not exactly sure unless it's under warranty. Now, obviously, it depends on what's in the warranty. As far as parts, things like that, that's, honestly, that's probably the easy part when you're dealing with a pool. But I feel if we get a company that comes in that has a good reputation of building solid whatever they build, I think that's the key to it. And I think if we have involvement and make sure we're involved in every step of it and making sure that is taking place, obviously I would feel better making that type of investment. And I think it's worthwhile.
Additionally, the monuments for the city entrances,
Mm-hmm.
do we have any type of warranty on those? And I ask because of what happened to the one up here that got crushed by the drunk driver.
Well, for that, no, that should have been covered by insurance. And honestly, it was covered by insurance. It just wasn't put back
Okay.
to that.
At the one time, I believe they said that they could not put it back in that location because the state was arguing with them. Maybe because the state knew they were getting ready to do the road.
That part, I'm not sure. I do know the insurance did pay for it.
And finally, the marketing assistant, the EDC was wanting to hire.
Yes.
Again, forgive me, I've been kind of busy the past few days, but is that coming out of this budget here? Is that the city council's budget?
No, that will be coming out of the EDC budget.
Okay.
Yeah, in the 24 as we move forward.
Okay. And so is this the same position that the Chamber of Commerce is wanting to hire?
No,
Okay,
this will be a City of Kennedale
City of
employee.
Kennedale employee. All right.
Does that role?
It will be a library assistant slash EDC economic development position for mainly marketing. Our event coordinator that will help throughout all the events that we have going on through the city, mainly dealing with town center. So basically like our Christmas tree lighting, our trunk or treat, our 9/11 memorial, obviously our Veterans Memorial. We have like we've had other activities like concert in the park, art in the park. We've had even some of the bark in the park. The Kid Fish has not been here, but those events is what will help. This position will help market basically the city as a whole. And that's what the position's for. And ultimately, that's what EDC is for. Any other questions?
One last question.
Sure.
On the, back to the fountain. Is it possible the winning bid, the company that wins the winning bid can come in here with at least a drawing?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes,
so that we can beat up on them as well?
absolutely. What we'll have to do, I'm not going to be able to just choose one of the three. So it has to go through bid.
Okay,
The reason why I received the three bids, one, I had no idea what a cost would even be to do that.
Right.
The first one I got was under 50,000. So any of the cost under 50,000 mark, I don't have to go out for bid. So ultimately, I could probably go choose that one, but what he submitted is not necessarily what the expectations were.
Okay.
So that's the reason why I seeked out other pricing, so I have an understanding. So with this one being 85,000 and the other one being 110, that seems to be more comparable than someone that just supplied 50,000, which opens up, doubt for me, honestly, if it's going to leak or if we're going to have some type of issue with it.
Okay.
So we go through a bid process and basically we'll send out a request for qualifications and proposal,
Right.
which is telling me I'll put in that report exactly what we're looking for, what we want, and they'll give us a bid on what that is. It doesn't necessarily mean we have to take the lowest bid, but to choose someone else, we have to make sure we identify the reasoning why we didn't take the lowest bid.
And you have to do that because it's on city property, or EDC property shouldn't fall into that.
Well, that's state law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because EDC is private.
Right. No, it's still you're a governmental entity. So therefore we'll have to go through the bid process.
Then one last question about the marketing assistant.
Mhm.
Okay, do you have an idea what that salary is going to be, or when that application process is going to start?
Once we go completely through the full bid or budget process, which right now we're scheduled for approval for September the 19th at the council meeting.
Mhm.
At that point, we can start the process of advertisement of the position. Right now, we have it at 52,000 as a starting salary.
Is that going to be a combination because they work for the city library and like the EDC pays for Ross to be here to do work and pays for the finance director? Does it pay the same way but doesn't pay everything, or does it pay everything?
No, it's going to be a 50-50. So
Okay.
in a sense, the city will pay 50%. The EDC will pay 50% of
Okay.
that salary. And that's also including benefits. So,
Of course, it has.
right, that's all included in it.
Is there a job description for this role somewhere, or we
We do,
see that before?
yeah, we can share that with you.
What line item is that here?
Yeah. Good question. Advertising?
No,
Or is it under administration charge?
But that's coming from the general fund.
yeah.
Yeah.
He may have put that there. We did have it identified because that was one of the things you guys were requesting on descriptions. Let me confirm. He may have taken it out because we had it in there.
Well, I would urge caution just in situations like this, because if we're the city and a private company or private entity, which the EDC is, don't want to get something where our tax exempt status could get called into question or, I think it's fine, but to split it that way, but obviously want to have the record to show that it's
Right. And I think it's what he's indicating on the, ultimately, we have 15% of the EDC budget is transferred into the general fund, which covers it. So it's actually a city of Kennedale employee with funding through the EDC, or 50%. But let me double check to make sure he didn't do that, or if he put it through a special services, which I don't think he did. We had a discussion about it this morning.
So you're thinking that he put it through that admin charge that goes to the general fund?
Yeah.
Okay.
It went up just from 23 proposal to 24 proposal, went up about the amount that you said.
Yeah.
Will this, I mean, I've asked about the job description. Would this person do any outside, like, going out and finding companies to come, or is this just going to be the entertainment things here in Kennedale, like the Christmas tree lighting? Are they going to go out and pursue people to come into Kennedale and businesses and things like that?
And through a marketing concept of it, to indicate that the person's going to go out and market as into employers, per se, or developers, in the sense of bringing in a community or a business district of that sort. That's not what the position will be entailing. It'll be more of a local marketing tool to bring either like a concept of small business or bringing the people into the city itself to market the small businesses that we do have. The concept, what you're talking to a certain extent, generally speaking, is with the Chamber of Commerce. This here is to a certain extent fulfilling that, but it's operating through the EDC to market City of Kennedale, not the concept of the chamber. That makes any sense. It's kind of convoluted. And this position is going to act similar to what the Chamber of Commerce personnel should do. The marketing side of the city itself for small business.
Okay. I guess when I first started doing this, we talked about someday, big dream of an EDC director.
Right.
And that kind of role where we go out, we get companies to come to Kennedale to, and find ways to market our city. Because we can I feel like this kind of stuff, we're just spinning our wheels.
Mhm.
It's good things, and people appreciate the Christmas tree lightings and the concerts, and that's cool. But to really make an impact on the bottom line and lower our tax value and increase revenues in the city, that's what we need. And so I don't know if there's a way to target a position like that towards something like that.
I totally agree. I would love to have an EDC director that's able to go out to all these conferences and locate that one that comes in and builds a industrial park that's going to generate employees and generate a tax dollar for us. Unfortunately, to a certain extent, I don't believe we're at that level one that we can afford that type of position. First and foremost, this position, I am looking at this position to help us, one, manage what we do have and let them know we're here. And what we do have to offer and build on that concept of, honestly, you're here, you're home position. The EDC administrative position, and ultimately I was looking at for a full-time, and which would constitute some of the what you're indicating to help me go out and manage and make those contacts either by emails, phone calls, wherever that is. My last year experience of being able to try to get that accomplished. There's other things I feel that we need to make sure we take the step first before we try to go out and just jump into the ocean and not necessarily have an idea, one, what we have to offer. Land is one of those. For an employee or employer, say, to come in and build a 30,000 square foot warehouse, that doesn't fit here. Currently, either we don't have the roads to support that, or we don't have the land to support what they're looking for. So those other factors that one that made me drop it from a full-time admin position to a part-time. And I think one, we need to build our reputation to be better than what it currently is. And the concept of being business friendly, we have a little bit of route to go. We got some things that we need to be very consistent on, and we need to prove to these business owners that we're going to be consistent, and more importantly, we're going to do what we say we're going to do. And until I'm able to get that, I'm not going to be able to have anybody come in and want to build in this city until we emphasize that we're here for you and we're going to do what we can to make you to be successful. Because without them being successful, we're not going to be successful.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I just want to encourage us to keep our vision big, even though we got to do those things,
Absolutely.
I think we've done that for years. Even in the previous administration here is just focus on the small. We focus on the small and we just keep staying, and we've got to get a bigger trajectory going, or we're just going to keep doing.
I totally agree with you. I don't disagree with you, but first and foremost, we've had that economic development director before. And I'll go back. We've had him for 2 years and we didn't accomplish anything out of it. So sometimes it's going to take more than 2 years. One, you have to go out and build a relationship with these developers. One, you have to build trust. And if you're not able to build trust, they're not going to invest into a multi-million-dollar building, a multi-million-dollar business without one having the people to make it happen. We're not going to have a developer come in and spend $3 million on a restaurant and not have the people go to it. It's not going to happen. And that's just been my experience just the year that I've been in this position. And I know several restaurant owners that have multi-million-dollar buildings, multi-billion-dollar, million-dollar restaurants. And I know them personally, and they will not come here because of that. You have to have rooftops to support a restaurant. And I'm just using that one for a prime example, because demographic, there's a lot of things that they come to make that decision if they're going to invest into a community. And if those certain things are not there, they will not build. And plus, and I'll go back to the same concept. One, we have to build trust. We have to be consistent on what we're doing. And yes, sometimes we have to start with the little things, because the little things is what defines us. Because if we can't do them, I don't need a multi-billion-dollar, 30,000 square foot building coming in here that we don't know how to do. So if that's just me personally, if we can't do the little things, I'm not going to ask somebody to do a big thing, then we don't look like we know what we're doing, or we're not being professional about it.
You said rooftops. And so, I think that, part of that, we've been waiting on rooftops for a long time. And I think, we have an alternate plan other than rooftops. Like I heard that from the previous mayor, well, when the rooftops come or when the highway's done, or, but we've got to have some sort of objective now. And I think finding some niche businesses that people want to come here to go to, or some sort of thing. I mean, we've got the racetracks out there, And I don't know, I don't know how much that's pulling people, but other kinds of niche businesses, you know, trying to market to those because you got to pull people in here because the building isn't happening fast enough and the highway isn't happening fast enough. And we need some.
What is
Well,
exchange?
I utilize residents for restaurants. So, yeah, I'm just talking about a little piece here. But whenever you're talking about a multi-million-dollar restaurant coming in, you know, if you have a population of 10,000 and you look at the demographics, they look at certain demographics of the salaries. They're not going to come in and offer you a $25 meal and you can't afford a $25 meal. And that's rooftops. So restaurants feed off of rooftops. There's other things that don't necessarily feed off of rooftops. You can have destinations within a community, and that will draw the people from the outside coming in.
That's right.
In my opinion, to a certain extent, it don't hold everything. I mean, everything's fluid, but when you have a hometown Christmas, you're showing your involvement with a community. You're showing them, hey, this is something you can come and be a part of, come and enjoy it with us, come in our town center. That draws the people in here to see what we do have and what we do have to offer. And we haven't been able to do that. So just say we do have someone that wants to come into the town center and they see 1,500 people, 2,000 people in our town center. That's showing one, we have people who has an interest in our city, our town center. And why don't you want to be a part of that? That's a positive. And not to say that's the number one selling thing, but it does have to start somewhere. And in my opinion, it starts with the city, one, putting that foot forward and say, our community means something and then let's invest into them.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I think we
Well,
have to do that.
I'm just saying that
I'm just saying.
I'm giving you a broad picture and there's some, fortunately for me, I've been able to learn a lot just in the last year, just dealing with trying to bring that one thing. And sometimes we want industrial. There's a little positives about industrial. There's positive about retail. There's positive about just commercial as a whole. But we also have to make sure whatever that company is looking at that makes them drive and say, hey, this is what I need to be successful in the city of Kennedale. And if I don't have that, why am I keep on marketing that if it's not going to happen? So that's the reason why I say it's been a very big learning experience for me to find out. So we got council members that have an idea. They have a vision. They want to fulfill that vision. So my job, I look at on the EDC side and the city as a whole, is what can I do to go out and locate that type of business and say, hey, come and be a part of us. Well, and they turn around and say, hey, well, what about this, and this? And I only got two of them. They're like, well, it's not time yet. They're not being ugly about it or anything like that. We just don't fit what their criteria is to be able to be successful in the city of Kennedale at this point. So you talk about restaurants. Restaurants is one of the biggest ones. I hear from the citizens on a constant basis, almost daily. I want a grocery store. That's never going to happen in the city of Kennedale. If it is, it's going to be on a populated area. It's not going to be on the town center unless we get rooftops. Grocery stores, they do nothing but look at rooftops. That's it. There's other criteria that other companies have an interest in coming here, but we're just not there yet. And I tell you, as far as a development, as far as just say like a residential development, first thing they look at is what does the city do for their community? And most of them are events. Every time they want to come in and they want to be a part of the community. And one of the things they say is, what do you do? And a year ago, I didn't really have a whole lot to say what we do. Now we do. We have 9 events that we do here in the town center. And it's going to continue to grow. And whenever we do have that one developer come in, I have something to say.
What type of restaurants are we talking about that won't come here because of rooftops?
Mainly they're sit-down restaurants, fast food, or they generally go by traffic. Traffic is their driving point. But a sit-down restaurant generally is looking at income and rooftops,
So,
generally speaking.
so like a sit-down restaurant, what number of rooftops would they need to come here?
Well, some of them look at the radius of a area. So I'll use QT, for example. That population, I believe it was around 10,000 for that area, which most of them was okay with. What they didn't like was a household median income coming in. So they looked at it as like a $25 meal. It's going to be hard for a family to come out and have a sit-down meal.
Our city has one of the higher median incomes in Tarrant County.
Mhm.
I guess I'm confused on that. But
No, you're right.
But
so,
along with what you're saying, I think it's more than just rooftops. I think we need to try to find a way to get people from the surrounding areas, Mansfield, Burleson, and Fort Worth, Forest Hills, to come into Kennedale to
That's right.
support those restaurants.
That's right. And that's what's being described to me is that one, for instance, well, I'll just use like Boo Ray's, for example. The Boo Ray's is a Cajun cuisine, but they don't have Cajun restaurants everywhere. They're more, I don't want to say isolated, but you just don't see a whole lot of them around. They look at it as being more of a destination. People will drive 5-10 miles to go to that type of restaurant.
That's what I'm.
Razoo's is another one.
No, not Razoo's.
And honestly, those are Boo Ray's. I know the owner very well with that. So I'm getting a lot of feedback from him, what they're looking for. Some of it is all traffic generated.
Now, Boo Ray's, you keep mentioning Boo Ray's. Is that on the level of Razoo's or a step above Razoo's? Because it depends on what kind of restaurant you're trying to.
Well, I would say it's equal.
Is equal?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about another restaurant that came out of New Orleans, and that was like a Copeland's and stuff. That was a high end. That was a
Right.
wonderful restaurant, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And to your point, you're exactly right, Ms. Horton. There's so many different factors that I'm gathering to bring that one. Traffic has been in, but the biggest one so far for a sit-down restaurant has been population.
so I guess, and what I'm getting at here is that by all estimations, when the city is fully built out, our population can't go much higher than 15,000 people.
That's correct.
I mean, if they're not going to come at 10,000 people, what makes us think they're going to come at 15,000 people?
Well, personally, I think it's more that the options on the eastern side of our city, there's more options already there. And I think that's been part of it as well. So when they look at traffic counts on Kennedale Parkway, we're hitting around 17,000 here in the town center. You go up around the QT, you're looking at 23,000 cars a day. So they're looking at that. That's the reason why I thought we may be able to feed off of some of the Southeast Connector projects to indicate, hey, our traffic count's higher. It's, with this help. But that's been a driver as well. I don't know how much it really plays a role in it, but that's where the destination kind of comes in.
Well, and I understand their metrics again, and I think I've mentioned this several times before. They want this population number, but it's not like we're 10,000 people between Amarillo and Lubbock. I mean, if you look at a 5 to 10 mile radius, we've probably got 50 to 60,000 people.
Oh, it's more than that.
Even bigger. So, I
Yeah.
mean, can we maybe negotiate with these people and just say, well, I mean, we've got it. I mean, I think everybody in this room would drive 10 minutes to eat at Boo Ray's.
Absolutely.
I think people in Arlington, people in Mansfield would come too. I mean,
Absolutely. Totally
Something
agree.
new, something different. And also, I think to get foot traffic in here, we need to think about, as I had mentioned before, these clusters that travel together. Because what draws people to a lot of the restaurants is the ability to shop. You're waiting to get seated. It may be an hour wait. You go across the parking lot to shopping center to shop, you know?
Hey, guys, I'm with you. I totally agree with everything, but the idea is I have to get them here.
Yeah.
A point I wanted to get in here because we mentioned water, and I know I've got friends that when we go on Sunday afternoon after church to go eat, I'll mention Dickie's down here and they're like, I don't want to go to Dickie's. I'm like, why? And they're like, the water, the ice tastes awful. I can't drink it. And they don't want to come here. And our water tastes awful. And I think that's an impact on us when we can't, like a lot of companies, sometimes I'm kind of like, I'll go to Dickie's, but I know the water.
Any restaurant that cannot invest in a reverse osmosis has financial problems, period.
But that's our responsibility as a.
Dixon water tastes nasty too.
I grew up in Arlington and went to Kennedale schools, and I didn't want to drink the water fountain at school. All right. And it's the same. I mean, they've tried to come and switch the water. I don't know what's going on, but I think that we need to figure out that, because I agree, our water is awful. I think that's going to take an impact. But anyway, that was just something I think that we need to think about, because that could impact people's, wanting to come and eat in our city. I know that impacts people in my circles. I don't know about others. But then another thing I wanted to mention was, like, when we're talking about an EDC director or whether that's a thing, I think we need to have somebody do some sort of research study, do some surveying, find out what is it that's getting in the way of people coming to downtown. What are things that people would come here for that are not from here? And I think somebody who does that, or a company who that's their job to tell us, hey, this is the kind of business you need to get people to come to Kennedale to increase your traffic. I'm not a professional at that. If up to me, I think breweries do a good job. Wineries do a good job. Those kind of places, people will travel to go see those. I think we were talking at some barbecue places. If you have a really niche barbecue place, but I don't know, that's not my job. I'm not a specialist in figuring that out, but whoever is going to help our city needs to know that. Like, we need either to invest in somebody to do that, or if there's a role, EDC director, marketing director, that can really look at what is the research around our city, what's going to bring people down this parkway that wouldn't normally come down this parkway. And until we do that, this is great stuff and I appreciate it. I like our kids coming to the Christmas things and I like the stuff we're doing. And I think it's good work and I like it. And I'm like, well, there's my tax dollars at work, but I'm kind of tired of paying such high taxes when there's no business to help carry that burden. And that's why I'm like, what can we do, to change our vision from a small vision to a longer vision, and what we can really solve the problems, Well,
personally, I think we have both, and our vision's on the wall, obviously, and I truly believe it. But in the same sense, I think an EDC director, executive director would be a great start, and I'm all for it. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And there are companies out that will come in and do that study of what you're just talking about. I did talk to one about a month ago. He's giving me a bid on what that is. I don't have my schedule in front of me, but I want to say I have a meeting next week with him to go over that.
That's encouraging. Good to hear.
Well, one such place, I think we may have talked about it, this Su Thai liquor up here. It's a Vietnamese, I don't know if everybody's familiar with Vietnamese liquor, and it's the only place in the country you can get that particular, but obviously things like that. And then 225 barbecue, I know is potentially interested in coming here. And like you mentioned, Mr. Reeves, the breweries, that would go great. Something like that would go great.
Destination.
Yeah,
it really is.
But we don't know what is best. Something we got ideas and I think they're good, but I think we need somebody who that's what they do and they have a successful track record of doing that to come and tell us, here's, with all these factors and surveys and all the things, this is the direction you need to head. And we head that way, but I don't know if that's a good idea. They may say barbecue joints, there's too many of them, or there's, breweries are just a small number of people. You're not going to do, I don't know, but we need somebody who does.
We've had those studies done in the past.
Yeah.
And the EDC director is the one that done them. And there was no outcome.
Okay.
So, you know, that doesn't mean it doesn't work today. I mean, what we have today is different from what it was 5 or 6 years ago. So there's not a problem even looking at seeing what, the cost of one of those studies would be. And it would be a very interesting, concept.
Yeah.
I've also been in contact with a lot of realtors, that sell nothing but commercial properties. So I've gotten some feedback from them on what would work here, what would not work here, who would want to come here and who wouldn't come here. And honestly, one of the biggest things, and this is mainly with developers, maybe not so much as a small business, but on developer wise, they don't want to deal with the city. And they've been point blank about it.
Yeah.
Daryl, before we move on, what is the projected lifetime timeline for the project down here on I-20?
I'm sorry, say again.
The projected timeline. Is
On the
it gonna be-
Southeast Connector? the
Yeah, it's gonna be
interstate?
3, 4, 5 years,
That's 5 years.
5 years. Do we have we need to find a way to take advantage of that traffic taking alternative routes. Like I was thinking maybe even try to get Buc-ee's to take a look at some property up here, maybe buy those 3 gas stations up there and replace them with Buc-ee's. That will definitely increase
I would absolutely love to have a Buc-ee's, but you know, and I wish I could tell you it's coming, but I don't think we fit where they generally put the Buc-ee's. I'm not to say I can. I'm not trying to.
I mean, there's a lot of traffic on Kennedale Parkway. I mean,
Well, they're not going to put it on Business 287. It will be on the interstate. I can assure you of that.
There's a
We do
Buc-ee's in
have.
Dothan, Alabama, in the middle of nowhere. I think we could provide something a little better than that.
I think they'll come. If it was right up here, I mean, they get away from that traffic and they shop and buy sandwiches, nuts,
I'm
beer.
all in.
wine.
I'm all in. Bring a Buc-ee's. I'm with you.
But I just think, yeah, back to the, you know, we really need somebody to give us guidance on that. 'Cause these are all great things. It's just, what is the best thing? Where are we going to make our biggest bang for our buck? And I think that comes with people who know this stuff, research this stuff. I mean, I'm sure they survey businesses and ask them, hey, what brings you to small towns? Or they go see cities that have been successful in doing that and say, hey, what did y'all do? You know, and they've learned, or somebody who can learn, you know, to figure that out so that we can start having a plan and how to move forward and accomplishing that.
I totally agree.
Absolutely, I agree. And, you know, I may be totally wrong too, but I think like a Chili's or whatever, you know, I think we're, you know, probably a niche type place. Maybe not. I don't know.
I agree. I think a Chili's would work very well here.
Do you really?
I do.
Even with the one right up here on the border?
I do.
They'll come to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think our biggest problem, some of the ones that we're identifying, we're surrounded by also. Because a lot of them, it's not going to, and I say surrounded, even we're talking about Mansfield or we're talking about Cooper, for whatever some of them just look at, hey, I already got a restaurant there. And a lot of them's dealing with Mansfield. But the fast food are generally, if you have a traffic count of 20,000 or more, generally they're very open to that concept of bringing something in, and they absolutely love being on the interstate.
I was talking to one of the heads of a Turning Point Brewery up in HEB, and Hearst was going to, before COVID, Hearst was looking at investing in that brewery and bringing them into the downtown area and making that, you know, so providing them space, giving them incentive to do that. And then COVID happened and they've got other directions. But that's the kind of thing, like, if we were able to do that for these niche places like that, you know, that would be ideal to get them to come, and then they bring the traffic, and then other places come along. Pizza shops, barbecue shops are like, oh, people are going there and they're going to want to eat too.
Absolutely.
You know,
Totally agree. Yeah. We can create our own destination. I just need help getting there.
All right, let's move on down to reports and announcements. Item A, reports and announcements. gone over most everything.
Well, I do have one more
Okay.
to share. Friday, I had met with a developer for another hotel. He builds Holiday Inn Express and Marriott brands. So he does have an interest. He had an interest in where I was wanting to put the food truck court. It's a 2-acre lot there. He has an interest in that. I've been discussing those options of what that may or may not be. But that's the extent of it at this point. He indicates he has a very, very strong interest in making that purchase. Currently, I don't really have a answer for him or for you either way. And that's just the initial interview or discussion about it. I hope within the next week or two, we'll have a little bit better understanding of how serious he really is. But it's one other, he also has a Red Lion hotel. It's on the West Coast. Evidently it's a big brand on the West Coast somewhere. California and Washington State mainly.
Since you said the word hotel, any news on the litigation?
I did speak with our city attorney today in reference to that. We should be able to bring that to the council for the 380 agreement, hopefully on the September the 19th. So far.
Where the land or the guy, we were trying to get it back from him. What happened to that?
That's the one we're
That
talking.
same location? Oh, same location. Okay, I thought it was where the food trucks were. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Same
it was two
location.
different, it was two different.
Two different hotels.
No, 2 different hotels. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is this part of the agenda part? Can I?
It's an update.
Okay, we were in announcements, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have, President. I was thinking since the last one, last meeting, we were talking about, a theme for the Christmas tree lighting. And I was thinking that ways of getting the community involved. And one way of getting the community involved is getting the children involved.
Yeah.
And what I have here is a proposal to let the build 2 teams with the 2 elementary schools, the junior high and the high school, and let them come up with a theme. The winner, we can decide on the prize for the winning team, whether it's the art teachers to get the prize to get the money to decorate their classroom for the spring semester, or pizza party or skating party or whatever for the kids, And that will get the kids out there for sure. I mean, the winning team definitely will be there.
Right.
Yeah, so.
And I have been in communications with Chad G. I've met with him twice already with the intent to try to get them involved. I've been optimistic on that endeavor. As of today, actually, he is still not indicated he's going to be involved in our Christmas event.
With the school board president?
I have not talked to the school board.
Okay, any teachers or anything? Because, I'm in touch with some teachers. I used to substitute here, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, any influence is a good influence.
Yeah.
Talking about our hometown Christmas.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about ways of just helping to promote that thing.
Absolutely. I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does their band and choir not usually perform at that? I can't remember.
Well, part of it, 2 years ago, we had the event on a Tuesday night from 6 to 8. It was moved this past year to the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And he indicates everybody is out of town and they're not going to attend the Christmas event.
Yeah, that would be a
Well,
little
if they know
challenge.
ahead of time, if they know in advance, they'll probably.
sorry?
If they know in advance, winning, I think they'll know.
We're pushing a year of an event
Yeah,
notice.
yeah.
I have not let it go as of yet.
Are we still doing that date again?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The marching band marched in the Juneteenth parade and they were on holiday.
That's correct. And I did bring that to his attention.
Any other thing about reports and announcements?
Let's say maybe we should have a little mixer with the school board and or something, build some relationships there. It doesn't sound like that's
Honestly, I truly believe that our council is doing a very good job with that. Obviously, I could do a better job on my side of it. I obviously I get involved as much as I can with the superintendent or anyone else. Our mayor and our council members have done an excellent job with that as well. Mr. G just truly looks at it as that everyone leaves town, and be quite honest with you, my comment was, that might be so, but they're not the ones that's needing it. We have families that are coming here that's trying to start a new tradition or just can't go out of town, and they need activities just like anybody else does. And I had this idea of what you're saying. We even brought up the idea that we'll put a tree up that each school can come in and decorate to whatever they want and make it a school event. And that was not accepted either.
this may be complicated in our world, but there's a lot of churches that might have children's choirs and things like that around here that might.
They have been invited as well.
So,
We started our meetings in July. We had our first meeting in July. All the churches were involved or asked to attend. We got one that's attend, and they'll be invited our next go around. We'll have another one in September, and once again they'll be invited, and I think they'll pick up then. I think it was just bad timing for this church or the churches to be involved, I guess. I'm not sure, but the invite was there. Last year they was involved, and I think they'll be this go around also. I think it was just bad timing.
Would there be better attendance if it were not that Thanksgiving? And I'm not trying to suggest, I'm just asking, would the school be involved if it was not that weekend or?
It's a possibility. I mean, if we have it during the week, Chad G indicates he will have the school involved. But if school is out, he indicated that
They're out that entire week of Thanksgiving.
that's correct.
Well, and I think that next week after Thanksgiving break, they have competitions that they weren't even gonna be able to attend, even if we wanted to move it to the next weekend. It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
What about the weekend before?
It's hard to do. People are gonna be like, it's Thanksgiving, not Christmas. I don't know if that. I mean, I don't know.
Obviously, I'm open to any suggestions. But I'm very fond to the Saturday after. We're not the only city that does it. There's other cities that do it on the same day and very, very successful.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. Obviously, I'm open for any suggestions or anything like that. Our first year, which is last year that we done it on a Saturday, I think our attendance was fairly good considering what the weather was. It was cold, rainy all day. And we estimated anywhere from 500 to 600 people that was in attendance to that. So it's not that bad. We generally average about 1,000 for our Christmas event. So with the weather, I don't think it was all that bad. I think this year is going to be even better all the way around. We're looking at having a synthetic ice rink so they can come ice skating, different things that I think are fairly new to the southern side of Tarrant County that I don't think that I'm aware of. I'm not aware of any other cities that's had that type of activity. And I think it's something not everybody gets to do on a regular basis, although it's synthetic. But it gives a good, idea of what it would be like. Obviously, we have a lot of kid activities that's going to be associated with it.
Okay, item B, consent agenda. Approval of the minutes from July 25th, 2023 regular meeting. If you didn't see the email, then is a copy in front of y'all. If there's no discrepancies or any discussion to be made, do we have a motion to approve?
Go ahead. Sorry.
I move that we approve.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Unanimous, thank y'all. And that ends the regular session. Is there anything we need to go in executive session?
No, sir.
All right. At this time, if all discussions are over, I move we adjourn. Any objections? All right, thank y'all.